Live from FedEx Forum, this is The Odds Couple on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Hello, friends. Welcome into The Odds Couple. It's a Monday. It's the smaller show, the more intimate, more thoughtful, some say, version of The Odds Couple. I'm Lang Whitaker, and I'm joined here in the studio by CJ Hurt, who's here, and joined via Skype or Zoom, I guess. Zoom or
Zoom. One of those Microsoft Teams. Who knows?
From whatever.
He's on it.
Tomato. By our friend Rob Fisher, who is in Houston, Texas today. Rob.
Hello. I'm well.
I said hello.
How are you?
I said hello, friends, at the start of it, which just kind of came out. But it made me think that Rob usually starts off with hello, good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I realized like broadcasters have like their catchphrases.
Yeah.
I don't really have one. Is that something I need to come up with, Rob?
Hello, friends can be it.
No, that's Jim Nance.
Oh, is it?
Jim Nance is hello, friends.
Yeah, I think you need one. You need something that kind of just kickstarts you every week. Something that is your I'm here and we're going forward with the show. You know, your big statement.
Cosell had like you're looking live, right? Was that Cosell?
You are looking live.
Yeah.
That was
Jim McKay?
Musburger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those guys have. I need to come up with something. I don't know what it is. If anybody has any ideas, throw them in the chat. Let me know. But I don't have a phrase. I got nothing. I'm just talking.
I have different ones for every show that I do. So it makes it kind of difficult. Sometimes you forget which one you're doing. Just
what
like
are they, Rob?
Yeah, what are the different ones?
Grizzlies Live. We have good evening, everyone. Is how I start the show, and this one, of course, is hello, good people.
Yeah.
And then what other shows do I have? I don't know. I guess Monday and Thursday Odds Couple, I do the same thing.
Pete says, welcome to the excitement of the NBA, right?
Welcome to the excitement of the NBA. That's right. Yeah.
On the FanDuel Sports Network. I don't know. I need to come up with something. If anybody has any ideas, throw them at us. Throw them at me. I'm open.
Let's get this party started.
Let's get it started.
What's good, party people?
Oh, those! I thought you meant just like we should just get the show going.
No, what's good, party people?
What's good, party people, friends?
I need something. I want to I need to look over some Outkast lyrics. I feel like that would be like the
there
most.
We go.
It's say, hey, this is Lang Whitaker. I'm cooler than a polar bear's toenail or something. I don't know, something like that.
There you go.
I got to come up with something, but yeah, something Outkast related. But anyway, you're watching The Odds Couple, and I mean, Rob, you were out of town for most of the weekend. For those of us here in Memphis, this was an awesome football watching weekend because you couldn't really go out of the house unless you wanted to deal with snow and ice, and nobody wants to deal with that once you get past the age of like 20-something. So it was an awesome weekend to just park it on the couch and hunker down and watch a lot of football.
It was really nice that this time of year, because I know we get it sometimes in the middle of the season, and then this time of year you got to wait a whole week before you get football, but it was a nice week that we had football on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tonight we got another game. So to have 5 straight days of it is great, and we've had a great 4 days of it so far.
But the next, I'm looking right now, the next college football game is like a week from now, right? Yeah, it's on Monday the 20th. Yeah. So we're still like 7 whole days away from the championship game of the college football. But we did have the semifinals this week, which 2 games that actually turned out to be pretty good games for the most part. 2 of the better games of the tournament so far. Let's start with Thursday night. Notre Dame played Penn State, and the Irish got the 27-24 win down in Miami. Close game for the most part. We had a Grizzlies game at the same time, so I was kind of monitoring both via John Roser's laptop, which cut out a couple times because Roser was otherwise engaged. His girlfriend kept coming by.
Oh, for crying out loud.
But I was trying to watch it on Roser's laptop, and then I actually listened to the last 3 minutes in my car on the way home, and I heard the game-winning field goal in the car. What was your takeaway, Rob? Were you thinking it was going to be that close of a game?
Well, I think so. I mean, based on the fact that going into the game, I really didn't know which way to go on the game. I did bet Penn State, but I felt it could go either way. And with the point spread where it was, I mean, I guess I figured it would be a close game. What I didn't figure is how it turned out. I felt pretty good that Penn State was covering a lot of the game, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter happened.
Yeah.
And the fourth quarter made it, for anybody who was bored by the first half of that football game, it certainly picked up in the fourth quarter as both teams went back and back and forth scoring points. And it turned out to be a great game. And I think I expected it. We talked about it on Thursday, and I asked that question, did you expect it to be a great game? And I think every one of you said, I don't know if great's the answer, but close. Yeah. And I think it was close, and turned out that fourth quarter at least was pretty entertaining.
It was entertaining. I mean, Notre Dame got the cover if you bet them, because was -1.5 was the line.
Mm-hmm.
So for some of us, they covered for us, got us the win there. I thought they were going to be the better team. They looked like the better team for most of the game. When it came down to being a tie game, fourth quarter, Penn State had the ball. Did you think, CJ, that they were going to pull it out?
Penn State with the ball?
Yeah, Penn State had the ball.
Yeah, because that's what they told me to start the season, and Penn State didn't get here by fluke, right? Like that's a quality football team. It's like, okay, here's the moment. Here's the Drew Aller moment. They tell me that Penn State is better equipped now to push the ball down the field, and they did that this year. Not near as good as some of the best teams in the nation, but they did it certainly way more than Penn State had in years past, I would say. After Saquon left and then KJ Hamler was there. So after KJ Hamler left, they've really struggled since then to really drive that ball downfield. And it's like, hey, Drew Aller can. Like, great, let Drew go. Let's see what Drew Aller does. And he did not disappoint in typical Drew Aller fashion. He threw the interception that set up the game-winning field goal for the Fighting Irish. And it was like, okay, this guy, he's exactly who we thought he was. He's been that all his career. Certainly, he's gotten a little bit better at pushing the ball downfield, but not enough to where in the game when you need him the most for you to be trusting him with the game on the line. And that's unfortunate for Jimmy Franklin and those guys.
He had 12. Aller had 12 completions on the game.
Yeah,
for the game.
Like that's just not good.
12 completions, 135 yards.
We knew that's what it was going to be, though. We knew they were going. Both teams were going to line up and just say, "Hey, F it, let's run this football." And for most of that game, the first three quarters they combined for 20 points in the game, and then you look up and 31 points in one quarter. So
you love tater toters. It was a game for you.
It was wonderful to sit there and watch. And then the fourth quarter happened. It was like, oh, okay, this is also exciting as well. But yeah, we knew that's what it was going to be. If whoever won this game was going to have to stop the run and run the ball effectively. And in this particular case, Notre Dame did that.
Yeah. Fish, do we blame this on James Franklin at all?
I don't know. I mean, because my viewing of it was basically just post-game and seeing everything after the fact, there's nothing really that I could point out and say, boy, James Franklin really screwed this up. I wasn't able to watch the game that closely, but I don't know. I mean, we'll get to it in a second in our big beats, but the record's not good, and it continues to get worse for James Franklin against top opponents. And does he get any of the blame? Well, if they won, he'd probably get some of the credit. So I don't know. I guess he deserves a little bit of the blame. I mean, it's a crappy number.
I would blame Franklin for not just kneeling on it. Let's go to overtime and see what we can't do. Penn State to me looked like the better, more physical team for most of that game. You get to overtime,
but for how quick they were scoring.
Yeah,
I mean they were scoring so quickly in that fourth quarter that.
But Penn State had the ball. Penn State should have had the ball last, and you got Drew Aller back there. Excuse me, and you say, "Hey, Drew, make a play with your arm. Don't do that. Don't." That's where coaching comes in. Just don't put him in a position to have to be that. So that last drive, you say, F it, let's just sit on this ball. If we're going to give it to them with all of their timeouts depleted. We'll give it to them well outside of field goal range, make them drive the field one more time against our defense, which is our strength. That fourth quarter notwithstanding, that Penn State defense was the strength of this team all season long. I think that's where you can say, all right, James, like Coach Franklin, you may
let
have
your defense
let your defense do it. You may have messed some things up. You get to overtime, and then you can let that run game run wild again. Penn State had over 200 yards rushing in the contest, so maybe there you can say it's on James Franklin. But James Franklin wasn't the one who missed all those tackles that the Notre Dame running back ended up scoring on. I'm blanking on the kid's name.
Leonard?
What's his name? Love. Yeah. Love broke like 8 tackles from the 2 on the way to the end zone. Like, that's not on James Franklin. Sometimes, we'll talk about it some here later on in the show, but sometimes you just got to let your athletes go out there and be athletes. Like, one of y'all make a damn play. Somebody make a play. All I can do is put you in position, but you've got to go out there and make the play. And I think it's unfair to criticize James Franklin about big game record like my man hadn't just beat 2 top 10 teams, right? Like, he did beat SMU. He did beat Boise State. For whatever it's worth, weren't they both top 10?
I don't think so. I mean, they're top 20.
That way better than top 20. Yeah. It's top 12 at the least. At the least, they're top 12.
I mean, they were in the 12th playoff teams.
So at the least, they were top 12. Right, and there have been big games against Wisconsin in the Penn State era that James Franklin has won. There's been big games against Michigan State that James Franklin has won as well. I understand the record versus whatever top 5 teams isn't as good as you want it to be, but those damn teams are top 5 for a reason. It's not like James Franklin is getting ran off the field in top 5 games. They lost Ohio State by about a touchdown for crying out loud.
But my thing is, at the end of the day, they lost, right? They're not in the championship game, and I think about this, and here I'll compare this to another famous athlete from the Big Ten, Greg Oden. Greg Oden was you always hear, oh, he's injury prone, and he's like, well, no, it's all these random little weird injuries, like a broken hand or a foot thing or whatever. Does he miss a lot of time because he's injured? Yes. I guess he's injury prone. Has James Franklin won a championship, a national title? No. So he doesn't win the biggest one.
Is that the standard?
Well, it is at Georgia. I don't know about the Big Ten. If that's the standard
everywhere else, then you got to fire everybody but one team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how it is. Kirby Smart and them didn't get this far, so you'd have to fire Kirby Smart.
No, not Georgia, every year. Just one.
Okay, just one.
Just one.
All that's needed is one.
There's only 5 coaches. Well, now Mac Brown's not active. There was only 4 coaches active who'd ever won a title.
Yeah.
Going into last year, and now Mac Brown's out, so I guess it's going to change because somebody's going to win one this year. But anyway, I think you can make the argument James Franklin has struggled to win the games that he needed to win the most at the end of the year. But whatever. Speaking of someone else who struggled to win games they need to win the most, Ryan Day in Ohio State. The next night, go at it against Texas in a game that I actually got to sit there and watch. And that game was pretty awesome. It was tied going into the fourth quarter. And actually, we've watched Ohio State just kind of run all over everybody, not run, pass, just dominate everybody in this playoff. And then they go into this Texas game, score right away, and then you think, oh, here we go again. And then Texas fought back, and Texas starts dominating the line of scrimmage. Texas looks like they got a shot in this thing. And then the fourth quarter, it all kind of falls apart for Texas. Fish, did you think it was more like, were you sort of more impressed with Texas or more disappointed with the way Ohio State had played vis-a-vis the way they played the rest of the tournament?
I was more disappointed with the way Ohio State played, for how much we talked about it on Thursday and really the last couple of weeks about how good that they have looked, about how dominant they have looked, about how they have the most expensive team out there NIL-wise, and they were looking like the most expensive team out there NIL-wise.
Yeah.
They had done that the last 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they reverted back to what made them kind of, I don't know. They won a lot of games and didn't lose, but Ohio State, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like they were inconsistent this year, but things that kind of let teams in games, bad penalties, missed tackles, poor communication, turnovers. I mean, just things that they weren't doing the last 3 weeks. They were doing against Texas, which allowed the Longhorns in that game. And then they make a couple of big plays at the end and they turn them away. It turned into a more exciting game than I thought it would be. It kept me around a lot longer than maybe I thought it would. But I was disappointed in Ohio State. I expected them. They did cover comfortably. But I expect them to play a little bit more dominantly like they had the last few weeks, and they really didn't.
Yeah. CJ, what was your take on it? Did you think – I'll ask you the same question. Were you more disappointed in Ohio State or more impressed with Texas? Considering what we've seen from Ohio
more
State.
Impressed with
since the Michigan game.
With Texas. I think Texas is, in all of these teams, right? All of them, I think semifinals, certainly, and I'm trying to think about all the 12 teams, throw Clemson out, throw SMU out, pick Boise off into a category of their own, maybe. So I'd say 7, 8, 9 of the teams in the 12 team are good college football teams. None of them, I thought Oregon was elite. None of them are elite or were elite. So seeing Texas go out there, and like Rob said, and you said, keep that thing close. Showed me once and for all, when I think about this football season and we talk about it a decade from now, 2 decades from now, Texas will come up and I'll be, that was a good to great Texas team. They weren't elite, but they were damn close to that. And they've been that all season long. The losses to Georgia notwithstanding, they've been close, just couldn't quite get over that hump. And they got close again against a really good Ohio State team and just weren't able to get all the way over the hump. And I had some serious doubts about how good Texas was coming into that game. I left that game and immediately vomited and called my father.
Was it because of the game or some other things?
The game.
Oh, okay.
What are we going to do? Am I seriously going to sit down and watch Ohio State versus Notre Dame for a championship? I'm not sure if I can do that. I love college football. I love this great sport of ours, but Ohio State versus Notre Dame for a championship burns my maize and blue heart so very, very much. I can't watch that.
This is like less than 365 days since you won a championship.
Yeah,
no,
that's terrible. That's
There's no
awful.
grace period.
None at all. One of those terrible franchise or programs is going to win a championship, and I think we should take it away from them immediately.
I did enjoy the ball don't lie touchdown scored by Ohio State right before the half when Arch Manning comes in, fumbles, and they don't call it a fumble. And then they scored, and you're like, oh, we got a game here. And then they immediately throw that screen pass on the next play for like 70 yards, and they get a touchdown back. Fish, how much of that do you think also do we blame Ohio State just for like all those penalties? They were penalized a bunch in that game. It felt like, if they could get out of their own way, maybe they would dominate a little bit more.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that was their problem. One of the problems against Michigan. That was one of the problems against Oregon. That was one of the problems in the other games that were close, like Penn State. They had self-inflicted wounds, and that kept Texas around. That's why I said I was a little more disappointed in Ohio State than impressed with Texas. I just thought it looked like Ohio State on a bad week. And frankly, the last 3 weeks, they had looked like a team that they didn't look like all year. They looked like just a dominant, great football team and a disciplined football team, and they weren't disciplined in this game. And so I thought that was unfortunate. But like I said, they still go on and win by 14. They still cover the spread. Their defense was fantastic, holding Texas to just 14 points. I mean, this was a game that everybody loved the over in this game, 53.5. And it was nowhere close. So I guess you got to give Texas some credit for that. I mean, it was a 2-score game, and that's because there was a scoop and score in the final minute of the game. So it shouldn't have even been that many. But so Texas played really well defensively, I thought, and Ohio State was really good defensively. It was just the other penalties and things for Ohio State that hurt themselves throughout the night, just didn't allow them to dominate the football game, but they still got the job done.
Ohio State wasn't the only ones to make mistakes. Texas could have won that game. Texas holds on. They get receivers who can catch. I don't know what the deal is right now with receivers not being able to catch. They get them some receivers who catch. We could be talking about, and much to my benefit, we could be talking about a different matchup here in the college football championship.
I had a good weekend gambling. I can tell you that much. Between the college games and the NFL playoff games, it was a very successful weekend for me. So we get the college football championships a week from today. Notre Dame against Michigan.
No.
I'm sorry.
I wish.
Nope.
I wish.
Notre Dame against Ohio State.
I wish.
It's coming up a week from today. Right now, the line is Ohio State -8. I guess we can do this next week and actually like have our picks. But
gotta tell you
how you
the
feeling
lean?
right now? Huh?
I'm leaning the Notre Dame side. But I'll never bet money on Notre Dame. But the way that they play football is a style that we've seen give Ohio State a bit of trouble. Just line up, run the football. Let's see if they can stop it. Run the football, play time position, field position, and time of possession with you, and see what you got. So I would lean towards Notre Dame there plus 8.5.
What about you, Fish? How you feeling now?
I've been on Ohio State here from the beginning of this playoff, and I even thought last week that maybe I would be on Ohio State coming into a championship game, regardless of who they played, whether it was Penn State or Notre Dame.
Agreed.
But when you get to this point of the season in any sport, when you get to this point, there are some teams that just feel like they got a little, like an angel on their back, or in this case, Jesus on their back.
Jesus on your back.
So I just feel like against Georgia we said, well, Notre Dame only made a couple of big plays. Well, against Penn State, Notre Dame made a couple of really big plays in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it takes. Maybe just a couple of big plays lets Notre Dame hang around or give them a chance to win. So I'm, at least as of now, a week out, the 8.5 would be too many for me. I think I'm leaning Notre Dame.
Imagine if Notre Dame wins this thing. We're like, oh, Notre Dame's national champions, and people coming along years after the fact will be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Notre Dame is one of those programs. They should have a national championship. And one of us will say, hey, damn it, that Notre Dame team lost to Northern Illinois the second week of the season. We didn't think they should be in. Like, that's incredible. The success of the CFP this year, I think, sort of proves the point. Hey, we should have went to 12 teams a long damn time ago.
I agree. I'm torn right at the moment. I don't really know how I'm gonna go on this thing. I think Notre Dame's like you said, the more steady team. Ohio State's got a more explosive offense. Like, they didn't even really get the ball to the receivers in that Texas game that much. Like, get the ball downfield and work it to the freshman. What's his name? Smith. I don't know. Like, eight's a lot. It's 8 right now on ESPN Bet. So it's gone from 8.5 to 8. And the over/under is 45, which is a little low to me. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research and look into this before we get. We're still a week away from this.
A lot of injuries for Notre Dame, also. Yeah. A ton of injuries for the Irish.
Yeah. But I mean, on offense, it doesn't really matter. It's just Riley Leonard and whoever they run the ball with. Like, like they just.
It would help if Love could go left or right, not just straight. Although going straight, he's a mother bleeper to try and bring down.
Fish, you want to walk us through our 3 big beats for this week?
The first one this week is the Orange over, the Orange Bowl we were just talking about with Penn State and Notre Dame. Not only did I have Penn State in this game, but I had the under 45.5, which for most of the game looked great. There were only 20 points scored going into the fourth quarter. I still had a 25.5 point cushion going into the fourth quarter, and then 31 points were scored. The Orange Bowl goes over the total. That was a very disappointing beat for me this week. Also, number 2 would be Jimmy Franklin, struggling Jimmy Franklin. The worst winning percentage against AP top 5 teams all time. You have Bill Mallory as the worst. He was 0-15 with a winning percentage of 0.
Who's Bill Mallory?
Bill Mallory, he coached at Indiana back in the 50s. He coached at he coached at a bunch of different places. Yeah, I don't know. I looked him up just
Colorado?
To see, because I had never heard of him. Colorado, yes, that's right. He was
Miami
at Colorado
University. Anyway,
Miami University, the University of Women Technology, I believe.
He's from Sandusky, Ohio. That's where Tommy Boy, the factory, was. Remember?
I thought you were going to say that's where Jerry's from. I was like, oh, really? I didn't know he was from there.
No, they didn't name anything after him. Frank Beamer, second worst at 1-21 against AP top 5 teams with a winning percentage of 0.46 in the bingo range. 0.46. And then Jimmy Franklin against AP top 5 teams, 1-18 all time. 0.53 is that record. 1-18 against top 5 teams. That's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of wins. Just one for James Franklin. And then we got our third big beat of the week. It's the 5-game skid. The Pittsburgh Steelers entered the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. They lose over the weekend. They make it 5 straight games. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. That's 6 straight. That's the 4th longest streak in NFL history. Steelers have the most regular season wins in an 8-season span without a playoff win in NFL history. 80 wins over the last 8 years and no playoff wins to speak of. Haven't won one since 2016.
Oof.
Yeah.
Not good.
Mike Tomlin. I mean, it feels with Mike Tomlin like it's taboo to talk about Mike Tomlin possibly being on any sort of hot seat.
Did he do a bad job this year?
I don't think so.
They lost their last 5 games in a row.
Did he do a bad job?
I think they overachieved.
That's the issue with this.
The only thing
Steelers
the only
is
argument
they're always overachieving.
Well, the only argument I read was that he shouldn't have benched Justin Fields. I saw that a few times today from Steeler fans. They were like, we were actually kind of fun the start of the year and everything was good. And then he went to Russell Wilson and he stuck with him down the stretch. And like that took kind of the spirit out of this team.
When they brought Russ in, Russ was good, right? Like it was clear after.
Right.
He was good enough to where it was, okay, yeah, it makes sense for Justin Fields not to be playing right now. I don't know what all devolved the last 5 games of the season for the Steelers, but it wasn't Russ. I don't think. This is a team that has spent the most amount of money on the defensive side of the ball, and defensively down the stretch, they fell apart entirely.
We should let's take a break. We're supposed to talk about the NFL the next thing. We're like sliding into this. Let's take a break. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna talk about the weekend in the NFL, the Shield, and we have some nuggets from Rob. Nugs. All right, you're watching the Odds Couple here on Grind City Media.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Sharon, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take 3! Take 3!
Bain for 3.
Bingo!
Desmond Bain heating it up.
Blocked by Sharon!
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple here on Grind City Media. I'm Lang Whitaker, joined as always by Rob Fisher in Houston and CJ Hurt here in the studio. And we already spent half an hour talking about college football and the college football playoff. But the real action this weekend was the NFL. There was a ton of games in the Shield all day long Saturday, all day long Sunday, and we got one more game left tonight. Rob, from this weekend, which team impressed you the most?
Oh, man. Well, the teams impressed me in different ways. Houston impressed me because didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
especially with the way that they've been playing over the last month. But the team that I was impressed with, I think that the game that I was looking forward to the most, the player that I was looking forward to the most was Jaden Daniels in the Washington Commanders. And for them to go into Tampa and get that win, I thought it was an entertaining football game, and I thought it was just another step in showing the superstar ability of Jaden Daniels. It was putting his hands with the game tied at 20 to go down the field and get them the win, and he did just that with his feet, with his arm. I thought he was spectacular. So that was the one that I was impressed with the most. I won that bet. I had Washington. I was rooting for him, and he impressed me, I think, the most.
I got all my NFL bets right this weekend, for what it's worth.
Wow.
I did. I hit them all. I would say this, though, that was the most Dan Quinn-ass game from the Commanders I've seen in a long time. Having been watching Dan Quinn since he was with the Falcons, leaving points on the board, going for it on fourth down, playing bad defense, just like throughout the whole game. I was like, man, this is just so Dan Quinn. But the other Dan Quinn thing that they did was they hung around, they stayed in the game, and they got the ball, with the chance to win it down the stretch. They with the score tied, and they did that. I was terrified when that kicker came in, not because he has OCD and kept fixing his hair and the stuff. He was number 47, which was Tom Glavine's number. And I was like, oh, no, he's got this loser number on. Like, there's no way he's going to make this kick. And he banged it in off the side. But Commanders, great win for them. I thought, Jaden Daniels has been awesome all season. I thought he was great. CJ, was there a team that really kind of impressed you this week?
Let's go to the notebook on Jaden Daniels real quick. It's workplace late lane.
Oh, okay. All day?
All day.
Every day.
Every day. All
right. Per PFT, the only rookie quarterback to lead his team to 0 punts and 0 turnovers in NFL history is Jaden Daniels. He's done it 3 different times this season, with one of those being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's only happened 42 times in NFL history, rookie or not. Jaden Daniels is having himself a coming out party of seasons. And then you throw into the fact that defense is really, really solid. Bobby Wagner's still out there. I think Bobby Wagner's my age. I think he's 37, 38. Still out there making plays. He's the one that I do believe recovers the fumble.
Got the fumble, yeah.
That Baker had. And it felt to me watching that game, oh, here we go. Start of the fourth quarter. Bucks up 4. They've got the ball. They're going to go full Philadelphia Eagles and just bleed this clock dry, get down in the scoring position and kick a field goal or maybe even score a touchdown and really put pressure on the Commanders and ice this thing, and it'll be done from there. No, Baker just had that costly turnover, and credit to Daniels and the Commanders for pouncing on that. Jaden Daniels close to, if not more than, 300 yards of total offense in that game. That's special when you see a rookie go out there and perform like that in the NFL.
I thought we talked a lot about Lamar heading into this weekend and Lamar Jackson and his performance a year ago when he didn't want to run and he just looked terrible and they didn't look great in the postseason. And then he comes in and won 28-14. I think you could say they kind of felt like they were coasting once they got ahead a little bit. Didn't really have to put the pedal all the way down. Were able to rest guys. I think the Bills were the other team you could say it's the same thing. I mean, James Cook didn't even play half the fourth quarter once they got up and ahead. And now we get to see those guys go at it next week. Was there another team? How about, let's put it this way, Fish. Which team disappointed you the most this weekend in the NFL?
Oh, well, I was going to say a team that impressed too, that Ravens team. I mean, just for Lamar to get a win in the playoffs was something that needed to happen. And against a Pittsburgh team that had been struggling, the way they did dominate that game, just dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers was impressive. The team that disappointed me the most was the Green Bay Packers.
Me too.
I mean, this is a team that I picked at the beginning of the season to win the Super Bowl this year, and the year I don't think turned out that way. Going into the playoffs, I didn't really think Green Bay was a threat, but I thought they were a threat against Philadelphia. I thought they were a threat because of what we saw from the Packers last year in the postseason, what Jordan Love was able to do in the postseason. Jordan Love was not very good. The team just wasn't very good. They didn't put up much of a fight against the Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense was just inept. Now, give the Eagles credit. Their defense, one of the top defenses in the league, came to play and showed why they're one of the top defenses in the league. But I expected more from Green Bay. I expected more of a fight. I expected a closer game. I expected them to possibly even win this game. But now they're going home and their season's over.
I do too. And I mean, look, I said last week I had Jordan Love in my top 5 quarterbacks in the playoffs, and he came out and laid an egg. It was terrible. Had 3 interceptions. So yeah, take him out. But I was pretty disappointed in the Pack. And I think out of all those games I watched, I was probably most impressed with the Bills, just with their ability. I think they had like 44 minutes of possession in that game.
Yeah.
Like they just controlled the clock and sat on it and ran the ball and just were like, all right, cool. You want to play? And CJ, you love a team that tastes the toter.
Tote that damn tater,
they were doing it, man.
That's like this time of the year. That's what you've got to be able to do. And it's not because running the football is going to lead to big plays or explosive plays or leads to plays as individual plays that lends itself to scoring immediately. But it's about controlling the clock. You can't score. It's hard for you to score if you don't got the ball, dog.
Yep.
And we're not going to give it to you by throwing the ball into triple coverage because we're just going to run the football. It's much more likely for a quarterback to throw an interception than a running back to fumble the football, right? Like you're taking care of the football there. We're not giving you short field. If you can run the football, get a couple of first downs on the drive, and punt, hey, you're in good shape in the NFL. And the teams that won this weekend can do that.
Yep.
And more, but they can do that. So when you get into one of these games where you might be outmatched or it might not be your day, I don't know, you've got a bunch of injuries. That was the other thing about the Packers. They were just walking wounded by the time that ended. First off, Love probably shouldn't be playing. He's injured. You lose not 1, not 2, but 3 receivers from a receiving core that was already depleted. You lose a couple of linemen and a handful of defensive players as well. They might have given me a call by the time if one more player went down injured, like, hey, fly up to Philly, we need you, right? So that's another piece of this. But if you can run the football, the Bills did that well. The Eagles did that really well. The Texans did it well also, right? If you can run the football, you give yourself such a good advantage. And I love sitting down watching the tater toting that was going on in the NFL this weekend.
I wasn't that impressed with the Eagles. I know they won and the Pack looked bad, but it was 22-10. Like it was kind of.
It was the Eagles didn't do what the Bucks did, which is turn the ball over and give them a short field. If the Packers had one short field opportunity, the Packers could have started from the 40, at least from the Eagles 40. Like, we could be talking about a different sort of a result. But no, the Eagles said, hey, we got Saquon back here. Just keep giving him the rock. Jalen Hurts, don't worry about running or throwing or what have you. Just give the ball to Saquon. He'll get us 1 first down, and then we'll just punt the ball and make them drive on this defense that I think is the best defense right now in the NFL. Certainly, statistically, they are. But from an eye test standpoint, they look that part as well.
Yeah. Let's take not take a break. I was going to say there's still one more game left to go. Tonight, we have the Rams and the Vikings. They're playing in Arizona because of the wildfires in California. It's kicking off at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. And the Vikings are favored by 2.5. Fish, is that do you still we talked about this last week. The Vikings go into this thing 15-2 or 14-3, had an awesome record this season, lost that season finale against Detroit and didn't look very good. Which way are you leaning tonight?
Well, my recency bias is over. After last week when we talked about the Vikings, we basically could remember them getting smoked by the Detroit Lions just a couple of days earlier. I still like the Rams, though. The Rams are playing really good heading into the postseason. Both teams are covering really well heading into this game. The Rams have covered 5 of their last 6 games. The Vikings have covered 4 of their last 5 games. 11 of the last 15 meetings between these teams have gone over. I'm a believer in the Vikings. I have believed in them all season long. But I'm going with the Rams. I'm taking the Rams plus the 2.5 tonight just because of the way that they've been playing. I don't think the move to Glendale affects the Rams, considering they haven't really had much home field advantage anyway at SoFi.
Excuse me. CJ, what about you? I'm going Vikings. I feel like they're a great team. They're going to be fine. They just lost to a better team last week.
This Vikings defense is legit. Sam Darnold just has to take care of the football. He's done that this season. 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Just don't give them a short field.
Yeah.
Like I said it before when we were talking about the games from the weekend. I'll say it again because as much as we want to make football more complicated than what it is, it's not that damn complicated. Take care of the football is first and foremost, and then tote that tater. And they've got a really good running back in the backfield as well. Not to mention Justin Jefferson, 100-plus receiving catches and over 1,500 receiving yards on the season with 10 touchdowns on the year. So, hey, run the football. Let that set up a nice play-action pass. You can hit Justin Jefferson down the field for some big plays in that game. I like the Vikings laying the 2.5 in this one. Also, like I don't want to do this with because I don't want to trivialize what's going on in L.A. Yeah. But come on, man, those wildfires got to be taking a toll mentally on these L.A. players, right? And I think that's a part, not the sole reason, not a big part, but I think part of why the Chargers looked as bad as they did was, hey, we've got legit things we got to figure out when this game ends from a family standpoint because of the fires. So I think that plays a part in this as well.
I think so too. Hey, Fish, it's time. Yeah. It's time for some. I'd love some nuggets. I don't know. You got any nuggets?
Right. Yeah, I do. I got some nuggets. That we got to get to today. One, we'll start with the National Football League. You know, exactly 3 teams have made each of the last 5 NFL postseasons. Chiefs, Bills, and the Buccaneers.
Huh. Yeah, thank you, Tom Brady.
Yeah, no kidding. Derrick Henry tied Terrell Davis for the most playoff games with 150-plus rushing yards in NFL history with his 4th. And, boy, just throwing some Steelers aside with those stiff ones.
Yeah, he was.
Unbelievable. C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans are the 3rd head coach quarterback duo to win a playoff game in each of their first 2 seasons. They joined Joe Flacco and John Harbaugh, and then Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan.
Can I add to that nugget, Fish? Give you a double nugget? 6 quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud is the 6th quarterback to win playoff starts in each of his first 2 seasons. The other 5 quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, both Super Bowl champions, Russell Wilson, another Super Bowl champion, Brock Purdy got to a Super Bowl, and Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez.
Hey, boy, the Sanchez.
Yeah. All right. How about Ladd McConkey? 9 catches for 197 yards. Set an NFL rookie record for receiving yards in a playoff game. The only players with more receiving yards in a playoff debut are Calvin Johnson, who had 211 in the 2011 wild card, and Demaryius Thomas, who had 204 in that same year in the 2011 wild card. So those 2 went for 211, 204, but Ladd McConkey with 197. And the Commanders get their first playoff win for the Washington franchise since 2005. They also beat the Buccaneers in the wild card that year, and they get the Buccaneers this year. I think a great win for the Commanders, great win for Jaden Daniels. I don't know if they're going to go any further than what they've gone.
I don't think they will.
But I think this is a heck of a start for the turnaround of this franchise.
Amazing what happens when you get rid of a bad owner.
Hey, I got a nugget for you.
Okay.
The only quarterback drafted by the Denver Broncos to win a playoff game.
Tim Tebow.
Wow.
Tim Tebow.
Because Elway was drafted by the Colts, remember? And then got moved. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we haven't even mentioned this. I can't believe we didn't even mention this. The game show that has been sweeping the Mid-South, if not America, if not the world. Who said it?
Who said it?
Got a banner edition today coming up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll play Who Said It here on The Odds Couple on Grind City Media.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Sharon, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take 3. Take 3.
Bain for 3.
Bingo!
This man Bain heating it up.
Blocked by Sharon.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before. and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
I mean, it's time for Who Said It, the game show sweeping the world, if not the country, if not the county, if not the state, if not the Mid-South area. I'm Lane Whitaker. He's CJ Hurd. He's Rob Fisher. You're back on the Odds Couple here on Grind City Media. And before we get into Who Said It, since Rob's on the Zoom with us, this is the time of year where the networks that are showing all these football games really try to promote their upcoming programming and their new shows and all that stuff. Rob watches more network shows than anyone I know. He loves the network dramas, the comedies, all those different type of shows.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Rob, I wrote down some of the names of these shows, some of them I'd never heard of, to see if you had any recommendations. Watson, starring Morris Chestnut. Do you know about this one?
Yeah, no good.
If I feel like it's sort of
no good.
No, I don't like it.
I feel like it's sort of a Sherlock Holmesy type thing.
Feel like it's House but black, because that's what House was.
Yeah, and I didn't like House either.
Okay.
So I mean, it could be a bias thing that I just don't. I don't like that type.
I heard Kyra hoot in the middle of that. Matlock, starring Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates. No.
Okay.
Just, I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
I don't know.
Kathy Bates? Are you serious?
She can't fill Andy Griffith's shoes. Yeah, Andy Griffith is Matlock. Now I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently it is. CSI Sydney. How are the CSIs different? I don't know. It's all the same.
The bottom line for the CSI shows are: do you like the cast?
Okay.
Like CS, or I guess those were NCISs as well. Same sort of deal.
Is it like Law and Orders?
Law and Orders, same sort of deal. I mean, if you like the cast on them, they're really good shows because they're police shows and they're fun, but not fun. I mean, they're about murder.
Yeah.
But they're good shows to watch.
But they put the fun in solving the murders.
It's just a matter of whether or not you like the cast. I mean.
Yeah.
Like the Hawaii one, I thought was really bad. I think the New Orleans one was really bad. But the other ones have been fine.
The good NCIS is the one with LL Cool J, right? Isn't that NCIS, or am I getting them mixed up?
That's NCIS, yes.
Okay.
That's the one with Chris O'Donnell.
No. That's Law and Order.
No,
that's not Law and Order.
That's Ice-T.
Oh, that's Ice-T. Ice-T.
Different rapper.
Ice-T's on Law and Order. Yeah.
Here's my question with the NCIS Australia. NCIS Naval Criminal Investigative Services. So is that the Navy around the world? Like, does Australia have its own NCIS?
They probably have their own Navy.
I would guess so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, what they'll do is they'll solve crimes where Americans are killed.
Oh, okay.
But
a lot of vacationing things.
Yeah, that's what happens on the other shows.
There's a show called George and Mandy's First Marriage.
Not good.
I can't believe that got a spinoff. Of a spinoff. Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I tried to watch it. Didn't really entertain me.
It's a spinoff of How I Met Your Mother. Of a spinoff. No, it's Young Sheldon.
It's a spinoff of Big Bang.
Oh, okay.
Big Bang is the original. Then we get Young Sheldon, and in Young Sheldon we get more information on those two characters, and then that spins off from
My son is in 6th grade, and he and some of his friends watched Young Sheldon. I've never seen it.
I think that's terrible too. I'm sorry. I sound miserable about the TV. I do watch it all. But
how about
LL
this
Cool
one?
J, real quick. LL Cool J is in NCIS Los Angeles.
Yeah,
terrible show. It's a terrible show.
You don't.
It's terrible. Of all the shows that we're talking about, NCIS Los Angeles is the worst of all.
Huh.
Okay.
What about Dr.
It's the worst show of all. They have the woman who's in charge of the NCIS unit is 3'6".
The unit.
Yeah.
It's Linda Hamilton,
yeah.
right?
It's hilarious.
Not Linda Hamilton, the short woman who was in the Killing movie.
I always just think of her as the chick from Incredibles.
Yeah, similar to her.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so there's 2 doctor shows. There's one called Doc. Have you seen that?
No.
I think it's on Fox. Then there's Dr. Odyssey, which we've talked about.
Oh my God.
That's
Dr.
my
Odyssey
favorite.
is actually the worst show ever. That's terrible. I'll say this about Doc. Any show on Fox, not good. It won't last.
Well,
It'll
then
be awful.
one of the shows on Fox is called Going Dutch.
Yeah, I saw the previews of that.
It's Dennis Leary.
That looks terrible. It's Dennis Leary, and it's the kid from what show is he on?
Community?
Community, yeah.
Is it based on Dutch, the Ed O'Neill movie? Because that was pretty good. I don't know if you remember that. It's like an adult and a kid. And, well, there's another adult like with a weird kid thing. Tim Allen has one, Shifting Gears.
I'm not as disappointed in that one. I think it's okay. I've talked to someone who's watched every episode, says that he really liked it. So, but he's an older gentleman, older than I am. So that's, I don't know if that's for everybody, but Tim Allen's good. I mean, he's solid. And what's her name? Kat Dennings.
Yep.
Is that her name?
Yep.
She's good. She's funny. So I think that show could be okay.
Sean William Scott's on it.
But we've seen the show already. So I mean, they both have been in a similar show.
Yeah.
I mean, she was in Two Broke Girls, and every show he's done is similar.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know what.
I like that Stifler plays like the neighbor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Stifler's like the neighbor who's like tries to help them out of weird things. The last one I was going to mention is the Hollywood Squares, which has been rebooted with Nate Burleson as the host and Drew Barrymore as the center square. Any interest in that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that because I like Hollywood Squares. I think it's a good show. As long as they get good, they need good comedians with good one-liners.
Yeah,
because that's the only way that show's good is if you got people that can think
Paul
on their feet
Lynn.
and be very funny. And you don't have Shadow Stevens.
That's
you got
true.
Nate, but I like Nate. So
that's a show that's a Rick Fox show. Rick Fox should be on that show. That's my guy.
Absolutely.
Rick should be one of the corner squares on there. All right. Well, so to get to the Who Said It now, one of the shows they previewed several times was called Special Forces. Have you seen this? It's a show where they have celebrities going through Special Forces training, and this is a bonus clip for Who Said It. I don't know if you guys saw this. One of the contestants on it is Cam Newton.
Yes.
He is not dressed like a hot air balloon pilot. He's dressed like a Special Forces person. Let's watch this clip, Kyra, of Cam Newton competing on Special Forces. I feel like this could be like maybe we make Cam Newton into an action star.
I mean, if he could complete this,
Watch
absolutely,
this.
why not? There's a Baldwin on this show.
Yeah, one of the Baldwins is amazed on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody pointed out Cam Newton is 6'5", 250.
Kyler Pratt. Yeah, that's a large man.
Get up there.
Got to pull himself up.
He does it.
Okay, there we go.
Like, why would you want to do this if you are a B-list, C-list celebrity? Like, your life is on the line. There's the Baldwin is.
Yeah.
Of course.
They yell at him for yelling. They say you're not supposed to yell. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think maybe this is Cam Newton's next thing. Like he becomes a Netflix action star or something like that. And then, he walks around dressed like with that crazy like Willy Wonka, and then he goes out and like has these big battles and stuff.
Had drinks next to a guy wearing a Willy Wonka hat the other night.
It was a Cam
in
Newton
in Minneapolis.
Oh.
It was rather bizarre. Yeah, it was. He had the big tall lid on.
Is it Abraham Lincoln impersonator?
No.
Okay, another bonus clip before we get to. I was going to put this in Who Said It, but it would have been too obvious who it was. We've talked a lot about Xavier Legette this year. Season's over. He talked during the season about some of the food he would eat, different things that are more exotic.
Coon is not exotic.
Well, watch this one. Let's roll this, Kyra.
I think they think we really be faking when we say we do this. We done bust the squirrel out the tree and open them up. You know what I'm talking about? Take the clothes off. That's step one. I'm gonna show y'all the rest of what it is.
Wow.
We done bust the squirrel out the tree. Take his clothes off. That's step one.
Oh gosh.
Then they show it on the flat top. He does a little work on it, cooks it up. All right. Here we go.
Can't just be eating squirrel in the neighborhood.
We got 5 clips. We got 5 clips.
That doesn't seem sanitary.
I think he's out in the country somewhere. I don't know. He had on the camo head to toe. I think he's with his cousins that he talked. The cousins and them as he talked about them. All right, here we go. Clip 1. Reporter says, getting a win is great, but in front of the home crowd, how awesome was this tonight? The player says, it was great. How you got your voice like that? You got a real good voice, man. You do the reporting for show. Great. I like that. Who said it? I'll give you a hint. It's an NBA.
You got anything, Rob?
Yeah, I got this one.
Go ahead. Take it, babe.
I think it's LiAngelo.
No, LiAngelo been in the corner.
The rapper.
Whoa.
LaMelo. Is it LaMelo?
Yeah. Let's watch it.
Okay, LaMelo ball.
LaMelo playing at home in front of a big crowd tonight. Obviously, it's awesome to get back in the win column, but do it at home in front of the crowd. How awesome was this tonight?
It was great. How you got your voice like that? You got a real good voice, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do the reporting for sure. Great. I like that.
I like that. He was very excited about that.
You saw him realize that voice was special.
Yeah,
midway through the question, he was like, "Oh, that's a great voice."
It was like the Steven Adams, Sean Coleman clip from a couple of years ago here in Memphis, where Sean Coleman asked a question and Steven was amazed by his accent. Remember that? And he was like, "Wow, yeah, that was similar to that."
Yeah.
All right, you guys are 1 for 1. Clip 2. The player says, "I'm just happy I saw the ball go in the rim a few times. That felt good. Me and old girl been having a little beef lately. I'm glad we were able to squash that beef and get back to the loving and caring relationship that we had. You see, with women, you can't always be the aggressor. Sometimes you got to talk to them nicely. I wasn't talking nicely enough to Mrs. Wilson. I started trying to be nicer to her, and she started reciprocating her feelings back to me." Who said it?
Who's been slumping, Rob?
It's not this person, but man, does that sound like a Kevin Garnett quote if I've ever heard one.
I thought it sounds like Anthony Edwards.
He would say some ridiculous stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that. I like that answer, Rob. I'm going to go Anthony Edwards.
You want to go with Anthony Edwards?
Let's roll with Anthony Edwards.
All right, roll it, Kyra.
I'm just happy I saw that ball go in the rim a few times. That felt good. Yes, you did. Me and old girl have been having a little beef lately. I'm glad we was able to squash the beef and move past our differences and get back to the loving and caring relationship that we have.
Well, you had a great first half. Yeah, how did you do that, Cole? How did you power through and have the performance you had tonight in the last 5?
Oh, well, sometimes, you see with women, it can't always be the aggressive route. Sometimes you got to talk to them nicely. And I wasn't talking nicely enough to Mr. Wilson or Mrs. Wilson. And so I started trying to be nicer to her. Ooh, I was supposed to windmill that. But I started trying to be nicer to her, and she started reciprocating her feelings right back to me. And so shout out to her.
Oh, that's great.
You be nice to her, they be nice back to you.
I like how he almost said I wasn't speaking nicely enough to Mr. Spalding.
And so I had to stop yelling at her.
Yeah.
This was a dude who decided, honey, I'm going to talk about you on television tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to and I'll apologize on TV. Is that cool with you?
I'll make it an analogy for a basketball. Yeah, but that's what it is. All right, clip 3. Reporter says, how do you limit the quarterback? Coach says, got to get him in 3rd and longer yardage. Got to win first down. He keeps getting out of the pocket to his left, to our left, his left. I mean, our left, his right. And we got to cut that down. Who said it?
I remember this because it confused the hell out of me. I was like, hey, Todd, what the hell are you talking about, man? It's hard, though. I struggle with stage left and stage right versus my left and my right. But this is Todd Bowles.
And on defense, how do you limit Jaden Daniels?
Got to get him in long 3rd and longer yardage. You got to win first down. He keeps getting out of the pocket to his left, to our left, his left. I mean, our left, his right, and we got to cut that down.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
And we got to cut that down.
Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah, might have been. He looks like Tony Doak. Did you ever notice that? He looks a lot like Tony Doak. All right, clip 4. Here we go. It looked like a movie clip. Like, you've watched the movie Cars? You're a little bit too old to watch Cars. But anyway, when I was a kid, I watched Cars. You know, when Lightning McQueen is just flashing past, and then it's like, pew, pew, pew. That's how he looked when he was running past all those guys. It looked like a movie, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Who said it? I thought you guys might have seen this one.
I did see it. and I can't remember who it was.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Who ran real well this weekend? Saquon did.
Oh, it's
Saquon? Who said that about
Lamar.
Saquon?
Lamar says this about Derrick Henry.
I'll roll with Rob.
Roll it.
Look like a movie clip, like when like I'm gonna give Cars. You watch the movie Cars? You're a little bit too old to watch Cars, but anyway, for kids, I was a kid when I watched Cars. That's all I'm saying. But when Lightning McQueen just flashing past, and then it's like. That's how Derrick looked when he was running past, and all those guys it looked like a movie, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'd rather be watching it than being on the opposite side of the ball. I know that.
I like the sound effects.
Yeah,
that's the best. All right, last one. Reporter asked the player, "Have you seen signs of growth since you've been here?" Yeah, I've seen signs of growth for sure. From the first year I've been here, just way more growth for sure. Reporter, does that make you more optimistic going forward? Player, nah.
I got this one too.
Is it Herbert?
No. It's Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's Pickens.
Yeah.
Roll it.
It's because it sounds like some weird ass stuff he'd say. How do you see growth and no confidence?
Have you seen signs of growth, and how much more does this team still need to grow offensively?
Yeah, I've seen signs of growth for sure. From past, the first year I've been here, just way more growth for sure.
Does that make you optimistic going forward?
Nah.
Why do we make receivers so weird? Receivers and quarterbacks are just odd,
he's
man.
like the weirdest of them all, though. He's very. He played at Georgia. I saw him.
Weirder than AJ Brown?
Well, pulling out the book on the sideline. Yeah, I don't know. That's something too. I don't know. All right, let's. You want to take one more break, or do we want to just wrap this
Let's
thing up?
just wrap it up.
Can we wrap it up and then we'll run the ads after this? We got the championship game line. Coming up is still 8. We talked a little bit about it. We're kind of both. You guys are both leaning Notre Dame
plus the points.
Fish, what about you?
I'm leaning Notre Dame plus the points.
I'm still up in the air. I haven't decided yet. If I had to pick right now, I might go Ohio State, just because I feel like they shot themselves in the foot a few times in that last game, and if they can just do it, they not play and have self-inflicted penalties, they'll be all right. We have an NFL division games. There's a game tonight we talked a lot about. Next week, there's some games coming up. Divisional round. We got the Commanders, Lions, Eagles against the winner tonight. Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, Bills.
Ravens, Bills, right?
I know that's a game. Any of those games jump out to you as like a good bet right now? I like that Lions minus 8.5 because I don't like the Commanders' defense.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. As far as which one jumps out, I don't know. Houston showed me something last week. If you would have told me Chiefs minus 7.5 against the Texans a week ago, I'd jump all over the Chiefs. But I don't know. I'm going to need a little more time to think about that one at this point.
TJ?
But yeah, the Lions are the one of the 3 that I'd believe in the most at this point.
Let me see who the Eagles have to face, and then I can say definitively which one I like the most. I would lean towards them laying at most 4 points against the Rams and 2.5, maybe 2 against the Vikings, but I need to see what the lines are coming out.
All right. Got any free picks, anyone, tonight?
I do. I got a couple. Free picks. On the ice, we're going with the Edmonton Oilers. 3-way bet, 60 minutes. Edmonton Oilers over the Los Angeles Kings. It's about minus 130 on that one. And then UCLA in college basketball, minus the 3.5 at Rutgers. UCLA has been out on the East Coast now for about a week as they had to go out there and schedule a couple of games. They played who did they play?
Maryland.
They just played Maryland the other night, lost that game, but now they're kind of settled in, and the whole fly across the country thing, that's in the past now. So UCLA, they get a good win tonight before they head back out to the West Coast. Mick Cronin finally gets through his delusional team.
I'm opposite on that one with you, Rob. I think that there's some they are on the East Coast, but they're again the same issue with the Rams and the Chargers. Like, they've got to deal with stuff at home. Mick Cronin got kicked out of that game against Maryland and immediately went to check his phone to see if his family needed to evacuate. I think they've got stuff going on bigger than basketball. So I think Rutgers, one of the most disappointing teams in the nation. UCLA may win. I like Rutgers to cover that. I also like Maryland laying the 15.5 against Minnesota. Maryland might be a tournament team, and Minnesota is not very good. And a future pick for you guys.
Future pick.
And I hate to do it. Go ahead and hop on that Cooper Flag Player of the Year. Plus 135 on OddsShark. So, yeah.
Georgia plays Tennessee in basketball Wednesday night. Georgia just beat 2 top 20 teams this week. Knocked off, I'm blanking. They won 2 games this week against top 25 teams. Kentucky, they beat Kentucky, and then over the weekend they beat somebody at home on Saturday night. I was watching while I was watching the NFL games, and they won it going away. They won by 10. So, but they're playing at Tennessee this week. Tennessee got destroyed by Florida last week. I think Tennessee bounces back. I don't know what the line is on this yet. It's got to be 6, 7, 8, but I would take Tennessee to cover that. And
Oklahoma.
And I would take tonight. I was 5 for 5 on my NFL this weekend against the spread. I'm going to go 6 for 6 tonight. I got the Vikings minus the 2.5. I'll lay the points. Vikings are going to win by a touchdown or more. All right. That was this week's Odds Couple. We'll be back on Thursday for the big show without Rob as well. Rob will be on the road, joining us via the Zoom Skype thing. Somebody in the chat, Rob, points out Watson, the show you said is not good, doesn't debut for 2 more weeks. So don't pass judgment on it yet. Don't tell us it's not good.
What I've seen.
Okay, just telling you. All right.
Do we need a black house? Like, that's no. Like, come on, man. Although he's nicer, Rob, and he's not strung out on drugs. So that's. At least to my knowledge,
we don't know. We haven't seen the show. No one's seen the show.
We would know. They would put that in there.
The show based on what we haven't seen.
They would put him being strung out on drugs in the preview.
Was House on drugs?
Yeah.
I never watched it.
House had a mean prescription drug addiction.
All right. Well, that's for us to find out. Debuts January 26th on CBS, friends. All right. You watched this week's Odds Couple. I'm Lang. He's CJ. He's Rob. We'll be back Thursday in the big studio for the big show. You're watching Grind City Media. We'll see you later this week.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Sharon, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take 3! Take 3! Bain for 3. Bingo! This man Bain.
Heating it up.
Blocked by Jaron.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.